Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of whatever this is called, the podcast where we actually applaud you if you unbuckle your jean button and belt and just kind of let it all hang out after you eat a large meal. I am Scott Taylor, and as always, I'm here with Mr. Steven Garcia. Steve, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready for this podcast, and yeah, let's get going, man.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to get into it. Today we're gonna start, by putting our hands on some construction paper and tracing it and pretending it
All right.
resembles a turkey because it's our Thanksgiving episode. Gobble gobble, everybody. We're talking the TV, movies, and yes, the handful of music built around this day that's dedicated to family, football, and stuffing ourselves until we question every life decision that led us here. So let's get into it. Steve, do you have any Thanksgiving traditions or anything that you tie into Thanksgiving?
Yeah, well, I usually just have like a lunch, Thanksgiving lunch. We have it around 2 or 3, I think, and we have the traditional dinner. We have all the fixins, turkey. Since we're Mexican, we have what is it? Not carne asada, but carnitas. That's what it is, carnitas, which is just little pieces of meat. We just have a normal Thanksgiving dinner around lunchtime or brunch, late lunch, and how about you? Do you have lots of traditions or just dinner?
I have two probably. Number one is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
watching that, I used to watch that with my dad in the morning, and he'd start making the turkey and start basting it and all that stuff, and we'd watch the parade, and we'd always talk about, oh, we should go one year, but it would be miserable. I have a feeling it would you'd just be out there in the rain. Roker's trying to talk to you. You're just like, go away, Al Roker. So Thanksgiving parade, and then one thing I started doing, and I can't anymore, there's no need for it, is I would go out and I would get the newspaper because there'd be all the ads for Black Friday.
Oh yeah.
And you'd have this giant honking newspaper, and you get home, and then while I'm watching the parade, I'm just going through, okay, Best Buy, okay, Target, whatever it is, and just flipping through, thinking about Black Friday. And now Black Friday it starts like before Thanksgiving even starts.
I worked when I was in retail. I worked some Black Fridays recently, and it's full. It's just a bunch of bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
We closed the store at 9 or 10, and then another shift came in at 12:30 and worked until 8. And then the shift that closed the store comes back in and it goes at 8 to whatever. And from, I would say, 1 o'clock in the morning till about 7:30, there's like maybe 2 or 3 people in the store, and everybody's just kind of sitting around. Although where I worked, I had to do internet orders. So we were going full speed. I don't know what to do it. Usually you have between 20 and 30 or 40 orders in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting like 200 like within like 4 hours. Oof. And so it was just go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anyways, went off on a tangent, but yeah.
My Black Friday memory is I only spent the night outside a store once. That I stayed out the entire night. It was a Best Buy. I was sitting outside for a laptop. I think it was one of those little $200 deal laptops or whatever it was. And I remember leaving Thanksgiving dinner and going to the Best Buy in Santa Rosa, having my chair. I was like the 6th person out there, and then just plopping my chair down, sitting there and just waiting till like 5 a.m. when they actually opened the doors. I remember my wife came by and like let me go hit the gas station bathroom real quick. She saved my spot. And doors open, got my laptop, walked right out. And I realized like you could just be hanging outside that door and just mug the first like 5 people that come out, and you're going to get some pretty good stuff. I started looking around like, man, I think I bought 2 laptops. I think they were, like $200 each. I was like, well, I'll take one of each, like one of each of the deal ones. And I'm walking out with 2 laptops, and I remember thinking once I stepped outside, oh shit, someone could just attack me right now, and they get two really basic Lenovo laptops.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, I had let's see, I think a couple cousins where we would have, the late lunch, like 2 or 3 dinner, whatever, Thanksgiving dinner, and then we would all just hang out until like maybe 8, 9 o'clock, and everybody would get liquored up, and then they would go out to Black Friday like around 10. They would just go out, and because shops I think now are just open until midnight, and then they open. I think they just do what I don't know if they do what my store did, but yeah, they just go out and just shop all night, drunk and whatever. Just like, oh shit, I bought this, but it's like.
Well, do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of
yeah,
like TV Thanksgiving episodes, either specials or
the Charlie Brown one.
let's talk Charlie Brown.
Yeah, I think that one is the one that when I was a kid, you'd have all those, the Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but for Thanksgiving, you didn't really have that many. So it was always Charlie Brown. I don't know. What do you remember about the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving? It's Thanksgiving Charlie Brown or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's so. I do remember that one. It was a little more cohesive than the Christmas one, right? Like it felt like it's like, oh, we're gonna do Thanksgiving. Okay, great, we're gonna do Thanksgiving. We're kids, and they just grab whatever folding chairs they can get. They put together this haphazard array of table linens, and they make popcorn, I think, and toast. Those are the 2 things they serve. But it was also a big appearance of Franklin.
Yeah.
Franklin appears and shows up. He's invited by Peppermint Patty and Marcy, and he comes with them. And when he walks in the door, he gets this cool like handshake with Charlie Brown. Like Charlie Brown doesn't shake anybody else's hand, just Franklin gives him this cool little dap.
And they also have Pigpen. Everybody remembers a kid like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was that kid. That was me. You could see the stink lines. Yeah, so that was the only real special though. I mean, I'm sure there was probably like an offshoot, like a Garfield one or Heathcliff probably. Heathcliff would have some specials sometimes.
But you would always have the sitcoms too, because the sitcoms are always matched with the holidays because it came, it was like a school year. So they would start in September, and then they would have a Thanksgiving or a Halloween episode, Thanksgiving episode, Christmas episode, New Year's, whatever. And so, yeah, do you remember did you watch sitcoms, and do you remember any kind of Thanksgiving episode like Friends or something like that?
So I think I remember the Friends ones. I wasn't a huge fan of Friends, but I do remember those episodes. I know there was a Cheers one.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s.
I think Brad Pitt, when he was going out with Aniston, I think he was in a Thanksgiving episode on Friends. And, I really didn't think he was that good in the episode. He was doing his Brad Pittisms too much, and I was just like, dude. And, talk about Brad Pitt. I mean, his acting has gotten so much better since the 2000s. But I think anything before, I think he had to have a good director. Like he had David Fincher. So when he did Seven and Fight Club, and it kind of worked in those things. But yeah, getting away from the Thanksgiving theme. But yeah, I think he was in a Thanksgiving episode where him and Rachel were like, he used to bully Rachel a lot. Or no, Rachel and the other girl used to bully him because he was fat. And he got invited to their Thanksgiving. He's, oh yeah, and he still remembered. So he was mean to Rachel, I think it was. So that's what I remember of that one.
They try to, shoehorn in a Thanksgiving episode to a lot of shows, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like there was How I Met Your Mother, who had Slapsgiving. They slap each other and stuff. And that was a good offshoot of it. One that there was a Buffy episode that was Thanksgiving centric. So that's a little bit of an offshoot. And then one currently that does one pretty consistently almost every year is Bob's Burgers.
Really?
I love Bob's Burgers. It's my go-to bedtime show. And in it, Bob just loves Thanksgiving. He's a chef, and he's like, I might spatchcock the turkey this year, and every year there's something going on, and he's just cooking, or There's one year that his family wants to go do this turkey trot, and it's them running away. It's like they're running the bulls, but it's turkeys running after them. But they order all these discount turkeys, and there's some swans and some geese mixed in, and so it turns into just this horror movie where everyone's getting attacked by these turkeys. And Bob was really upset because he's like, "No, you guys go do that. I'm not cooking this year. I guess you don't want me to." And he just sits there on the couch and he's trying to figure out what to do, and he starts, day drinking and listening to some CDs. He's like, "This is pretty fun, actually." So there's some good ones of Bob's Burgers out there that you can watch. And they also do Christmas ones, and they've had some Easter episodes. They're pretty good about that.
The Cheers one you were talking about, I remember that now, is when they all dress up and they go to, I think it's Diane's house. I can't remember whose house they go to, and end up having a food fight. I want to say that because it took so long to film that they were kind of actually drinking during the episode. Not too much. They weren't like sloshy drunk, but they were kind of tipsy. And so, yeah, they go for it in that one too. Diane gets up and goes, "I've never seen such immature." Gets the pie in the face, and then she's like, "Oh, and then that's when it starts. And that's one of my favorite Cheers episodes now. So then I think about it. So
yeah, and nowadays you can just rewatch them around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's like, I jumping ahead to Christmas, like the Married with Children Christmas episodes. Those, I know the rest of the year I normally won't watch Married with Children, but come Christmas time, I'm like, I gotta watch like these 4 or 5 episodes of Married with Children, and watch Santa skydive out of a helicopter and land in their backyard with a bag full of gift cards.
holy crap, that one. And yeah, I think those are the only two that I remember, the Friends and the Cheers one. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more, but those are the two that stand out to me. Yeah.
I think there's definitely more movies related to Thanksgiving, and I think when everybody thinks about movies and Thanksgiving, they just default to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Right?
Yeah.
And you've done a deep dive with Toby on that on Gotta See My Friends. So we'll
Oh,
go
yeah.
over to that episode. Great movie, but everyone talks about it. It's like,
Yeah.
you love it, everybody loves it, but there's other Thanksgiving movies out there.
Yeah. Start us off. What's a Thanksgiving movie that comes to mind?
I'm going to throw one out there that I guarantee you have never seen.
Oh, okay.
It's called Freebirds. It's a cartoon. It was one of the first cartoons I took my daughter to. Now, Steve, let me ask you this. In any time travel scenario, right? Someone's telling you, "Steve, you have the power to time travel. What's the number one thing people say they're going to go back and do?"
Probably, I don't know, probably something to do with like their childhood or something. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Number one would probably have to do with killing Hitler, I would think.
That too. I would definitely go with that.
If you don't care about other people, Steve, then go back to your childhood, man. I mean, it's your time travel machine. You do what you want with it, buddy. But a lot of us will go back and take care of Hitler.
Yeah.
And so Freebirds is basically that premise, but with turkeys. So these turkeys, played by Owen Wilson and Woody Harrelson, it sounds like a fever dream already, right? They end up getting a time machine, and they go back in time to the Pilgrims to try to prevent them from using turkeys at Thanksgiving, so that the rest of their clan are not killed every single year. And they end up making it pizza. Spoiler alert. So that really random movie, but the premise, you got to think of it and be like, "Oh my God, that's exactly what turkeys would do if they got their hands on a time machine."
So I just pulled up a list of Thanksgiving Day movies. Number 20, Freebirds, 2013.
I don't think I've seen it since the first time, when I saw it in the theater with my daughter, but that's a wacky premise right there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of them. I didn't realize how many. There's also Tower Heist, which is like an Eddie Murphy, Ben Stiller movie. 2011 takes place during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But there's one on here, obviously Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But there's one that I was asking about last year, and I think you had told me it was the Thanksgiving, but Dutch with Ed O'Neill, 1991. I think I've only seen parts of that movie. I haven't seen the whole thing, but there's a lot. Home for the Holidays, Jodie Foster directed movie. Dysfunctional family, Thanksgiving drama done right. I guess I haven't seen it. I remember it coming out, but yeah. I mean, have you seen any of these movies?
Yeah, let's talk
Oh,
Dutch a
you
little
have.
bit because I remember seeing
Okay.
Dutch, and I think it was another one where it was on HBO when I was flipping
Uh
around
huh.
back in probably came out in 91, so probably 92, 93. It was on HBO and I was flipping around, and it was great back then because it's it's a John Hughes doing a spiritual
Yeah.
cousin to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
You've got Ed O'Neill plays Dutch Dooley, who's the new boyfriend trying to bond with his girlfriend's spoiled son, who's played by Ethan
Uh,
Embry, who was Ethan Randall back then. And
uh,
then you have, Ed O'Neill volunteers to pick up the kid from boarding school and bring him home for Thanksgiving, and it just goes horribly wrong. It's all the bad stuff, and it's the odd couple on wheels. But one thing I want to ask about first, Ed
yeah.
O'Neill, like, why didn't he get more starring roles like this? He was great.
Yeah. I think I was just about to say this was the time when a lot of TV people were trying to get into movies, and I think Ed O'Neill, he was on a hit show, but he had come from the stage. He was a stage actor. He didn't even know what Al Bundy was. He just didn't get it, but he auditioned for it because I guess his friends told him or somebody told him to. And so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he has the chops. I mean, he's been in this. There was this David Mamet movie, Spartan, with Val Kilmer. I think it came out in the early 2000s. And he's in that, and he plays a really good. He's just really good. He's a really good dramatic actor. There's a scene that's making the rounds on like TikTok and Instagram. Is that scene from Modern Family when they're trying to get him to talk about his feelings, and he's like feelings, and he goes from mocking everybody because the whole cast is there like looking at him while he's doing this, and he's like, "Have you seen this scene?"
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, feelings, and then he starts telling a story about how he doesn't care about feelings, but he ends up, breaking down. So, I mean, that just within a scene, that character kind of arc. Yeah, I've always thought he was a great actor, but I think he was just, no one saw him past Al Bundy because he was also in the reboot of the old TV show, Dragnet. ABC tried to reboot Dragnet, and he was the detective in that, or I think it was Dragnet. It could have been something else.
It was Dragnet, and it was two
Dragnet.
seasons, and then it turned into L.A. Dragnet.
Really? Okay.
But the funny thing there with Dragnet is his partner in the show was Ethan Embry.
Oh,
That was his police partner there. So they were working together. So if you
that's awesome.
squinted, if you watched it
Yeah.
and you squinted, you could be like, this is like a sequel to Dutch. This is what happens when they grow up. They become cops and work together. But I agree. I think he probably got shoehorned a little bit into Al Bundy. I
Yeah.
don't think in this movie that you say, "Hey, that's Al Bundy." I feel
Right.
like it's a different character he's playing. It has similarities, a little roughness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Great line of "nothing burps like bacon."
Oh, he was also in Miami Vice. He was in the first season, like I think the first few episodes. He played a FBI, and he played an FBI agent that went undercover in a porn ring and got sucked in and kind of turned into. He was making a lot of money and like trafficking and all that kind of things. And by the end, they have to bust him and stuff. He's always just a great actor. But go ahead, keep going with Dutch though.
Yeah, I think there's a universe where Ed O'Neill becomes, kind of Will Ferrell-esque, becomes a lead comedy person, especially during that time, the early 90s, like that. There was a lot of stuff that would have been kind of in his wheelhouse, a lot of writing that could have been done for him specifically that I think could have highlighted his humor.
Yeah, I think if he was doing movies, he was doing so much. He was in Wayne's World. You remember him, that cameo he did in Wayne's World? And he said he didn't even really understand that either. He just kind of went in and read it, and it only took him a couple takes to do that. I always just saw him as a dramatic actor. I thought his real strength was more. And Dutch, like I said, I haven't seen the whole movie through, but I think that he was more of the kind of guy that would kind of chew up the scenery in just like a cameo scene, or not even a cameo, but just like a small role, supporting role. I always thought that he could knock that shit out of the park, given the chance. I think now he's older now, but I think back in like the early 2000s, he could have done a lot of work. And maybe he did. I just never really saw anything that he was in aside from TV stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's, I didn't rewatch the entire thing getting ready for this, but I definitely searched out clips, and I remember, the scene that sticks out in my mind from when I was a kid is they end up picking up these two prostitutes and giving them a ride, and there's a slightly younger one that's sitting in the back with Ethan Embry. And I remember because I was young, I was like, they're so cute. They're so cute. But I remember, they steal their car and everything like that. And the two of them end up in, a soup kitchen for Thanksgiving. And it's just a lot of back and forth of, Ed O'Neill trying to be the kind of, not really a dad figure, but just kind of like a friend, like a stepdad friend type person. And then just Ethan Embry just being this horrible little snot-nosed brat kid. Lots of fun stuff in there. Ed O'Neill buys fireworks at some point and, is off setting off the fireworks trying to, like, hey, the kid will love this. And he's just out there playing with the fireworks. He's using the bottle rockets, phallically, just running around with them, trying to have fun, trying to make the kid laugh.
That's the kind of kid acting that's always risky for me. Because there's the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. And I think it's Will Smith's son when he was young. He played the son in that movie. And also War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, his son. His son was like a teenager, though. But, when they do stuff like, he just wouldn't listen to Tom Cruise. And it's like, dude, the Earth is ending. Like, we have aliens. And you're, like, complaining that you're not my dad, that stuff. Just constantly going like, hey, let's stay together. And he's always running off. And I'm just like, oh, dude, let him go. He wants to go. And oh my God. So for me, the kid part has to be, if they're like, like a brat or something, then I'm just usually just like, oh God, like, please let this be good. But I have a hard time with that because it's like, well, just let him go. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. let him fall off the bridge or something, whatever it is. So. Is it good though?
Yeah. It's got a lot of, it's one of those, a lot of heart. It's definitely like a sibling to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. A lot of road jokes, hotel humor, that type of thing. Diners.
Yeah.
At one point, Ed O'Neill's like, "There's one thing I can do that you can't do," and Ethan Embry's like, "What?" And he's like, "Pay for my breakfast." And that's when he comes out. He's like picking his, toothpicking his teeth, and that's when he goes, "Nothing burps like bacon." And he goes, "Your water looked really good." A lot of good Ed O'Neill lines there. There's one point in the beginning where he's at like a fancy dinner, and there's caviar and a cracker, and he flicks it off into like an ashtray, and just goes everywhere. And he goes, I got a rule that I follow where I don't eat anything that a fish lays on a riverbed." So some good humor there, and yeah, I think it's a good thing to throw in the mix for Thanksgiving. Did you see the Eli Roth horror movie Thanksgiving?
No.
So it all started from Grindhouse. Do you remember when they released Grindhouse? Yeah. And it was the two Tarantino movies, right? It was From Dusk. No, what was it? Was it From Dusk Till Dawn? No, it was.
It was.
It was Death Proof was the second one, and the first one was.
Wasn't the Grindhouse? No, it wasn't. I thought it was. Gosh darn it!
What was the first movie for Grindhouse?
Where's the search bar?
Where's the any key?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, Planet Terror. Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror. And then Tarantino's was Death Proof. Okay. And then in between those two movies, they had trailers, and they were fake trailers. Mm-hmm. And there was one Eli Roth did for Thanksgiving. And you laugh at it because you're like, who's going to make a horror movie about Thanksgiving? I mean, way back in 2007, you're like, that's ridiculous. And then a couple years ago, they actually come to fruition. They actually make the movie, and it's a slasher movie. It's, who's wearing this mask and going around slashing and killing people around this town. But it's fun.
Yeah. There's one called Christie, college campus slasher thriller set during Thanksgiving break. Sounds like a keeper. That one and Blood Rage from '87. campy 80s slasher set on Thanksgiving. That's not cranberry sauce. That was the tagline, I guess. But also the darker Thanksgiving vibes, the movies, You've Got Mail and The Ice Storm fall under darker Thanksgiving. So never did see You Got Mail. I haven't seen that one. So,
I do remember
yeah,
Ice Storm. I remember seeing Ice Storm.
Yeah, it's a Thanksgiving adjacent autumn holiday film. Moody, chilly, devastating. So, I remember hearing about the Ice Storm. I've never seen that movie either.
Mm-hmm.
But
is that Elijah Wood in Ice Storm?
Yeah, Elijah Wood and I think Katie Holmes, isn't it? The Ice.
Talking Ice Storm.
Ang Lee, he directed it. Oh, no, it's not Katie. It's Kevin Kline, Joan Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Tobey Maguire, Christina Ricci, Elijah Wood, and some other people that are normal Hollywood. Oh, that's that guy and that's that girl type of roles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People are saying it's one of Ang Lee's finest films. Henry Czerny from Mission Impossible, the first one. What are we going to do, Barnes? Put a guy at the airport. You know, that guy. Yeah. Sigourney Weaver, Kevin Kline, Joan Allen. Haven't seen it. I think I should see it.
Kline's a person that I get mixed up a lot with other actors like Spacey and was that Spacey or is that Kline? Who was that?
He's kind of one of those actors that seems a little uppity, like snobbish in terms of kind of the way he acts in a movie. Like you could tell he's an actor, one of those actor guys that are just because he doesn't do a lot of movies. I don't know the last movie I saw him in, but during his heyday, he made some movies, but they're all kind of highbrow, high concept, kind of like The Fish Called Wanda and these kind of intellectual kind of comedies. Mm-hmm. And he was in one of my favorite movies, Silverado, which came out, I think, in '85. It was a Western. And Lawrence Kasdan, he was the writer of like Empire Strikes Back and great writer. And so he wrote and directed his Western with Kevin Kline as lead. And it was just, they're very good roles, very good kind of performances. But he was never like, he was always like, I guess, a character actor, but he was kind of a leading man at the same time. It's weird. He's just one of those guys. It's like Stanley Tucci, you know, like he doesn't do a lot of roles, but the roles he does, he gets into them. And he's like, what was that one? Spotlight. He was good in Spotlight. Tucci. And I don't know. He just does these weird movies. That's how I see Kevin Kline anyways. So, yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of space for Thanksgiving movies to be made, but the studios just don't jump at it. And I feel like people go see movies around Thanksgiving. You know, it's like, what else are you going to do? The kids are off that week. You can go to a movie or whatever. Nowadays, yeah, it's hard to get people out. But I feel like you could get people to watch the crap out of something humorous and fun about Thanksgiving on Netflix if they released it the week before.
Yeah, there was some movie, I think 2 years ago now, with, who was the guy, gosh darn it, I can't remember. Sideways, he was in the movie Sideways, he was the main guy.
Giamatti?
Yeah. What's his name again?
Paul Giamatti.
He was in a movie, The Placeholders or something like that from 2 years ago. He played headmaster at a private school. Yep. Movies like that, I think, would do well. And that came out during Thanksgiving, I think. And he got all the raves and about his performance. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of space for that in Thanksgiving. I think a lot of, movies like some character-driven type of stuff would do well because it's like cold. It gets dark soon, so there's this kind of like gloom, not gloom in terms of like horror, but gloom in terms of just, you know, days are shorter, and I think you're right. Hollywood needs to jump on that, or Netflix or whoever.
I feel like you could do all sorts of stuff. You could do those drama pieces, the character-driven stuff. You could do humor-driven stuff. You know, you have like for Christmas time, 4 Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. I think was the female lead. Yeah. And they have to go to the different parents' houses and stuff like that. Instead of going on vacation, they actually are stuck home. I feel like you could do a lot of that where people have to, it's just that 24-hour period where people are jumping in between people's houses and family members, and you could build that character dialogue from sitting at the table, getting there and they have a problem with their brother or whatever, and you don't know exactly what
Yeah.
it is to begin with, and then they let it loose, as it goes on. You could have a lot of humor there, a lot of heart too, kind of like Dutch did, where there was a lot of heart there, and it wasn't just slapsticky stuff.
Yeah, I think Ed Burns, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, he wrote this movie called The Fighting Fitzgeralds. And I think it took place over Thanksgiving. And it was just about a family who gets together and then they start arguing and then favorites come out and then all that kind of family drama, which I think I'm a big fan of Ed Burns. I think he can kind of get a little too sappy sometimes, but I think that's just the nature of how he writes. He writes, he's like Kevin Smith, where he writes a lot of there's no really subtext. He just kind of writes what he wants his characters to think and say. And so I think that kind of gets a little overbearing. But yeah, I think that movie, let me look it up. I think that movie played during Thanksgiving. Let's see, Ed Burns. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's, any type. There's just a market there. There's like you said, there's an opening there for that. That's 20. Oh, wow. He's the family McMullen. Looking for Katie. The Fitzgerald Family Christmas. Oh, sorry. That's a Christmas movie.
It's very easy to be like, is this Christmas or Thanksgiving? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Fitzgerald Family Christmas in 2012 that came out. But yeah, so
I think
big market, big opening there.
I think as a kid, I thought boarding schools would be more prevalent in my future as a grown up. Like you'd be deciding if your kid goes to boarding school or what, and it didn't pan out that way. You never, there's not a ton of boarding school experience, but movies made it seem that way. Whether it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, somebody was being left behind in the school to just spend it with the janitor.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the one that I was just talking about with Giamatti. I think that's what. The kid doesn't go to school, so he stays in campus, and there's some other kids there, and with like the headmaster or something.
There was a horror one that was like that for Christmas time, and it was actually pretty good. If I remember the premise of it, a couple people break in and are gonna like rob the place and then hold them hostage. And I think one of the girls that was left behind was actually a vampire. Or maybe it was a werewolf, maybe it was a full moon werewolf type thing, but it was one of those, and it was actually done pretty well. I'll have to figure out the name of it, but yeah, you get a lot of those boarding school scenarios.
Yeah, like I think if you think about it, I think probably what is it? Gosh, now I'm old man brain. I can't think of the boarding school. The one with Robin Williams. Whatever. That one, and then the one with Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, before Matt Damon was huge, and Ben Affleck. Old man brain, man. There has to be a segment in this podcast where we talk about old man brain.
One thing I was thinking about, and I was like, is this Thanksgiving or not? And I don't think it's Thanksgiving. I think it was just a school movie. Is the Sure Thing with Cusack.
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking, they share a ride back to home, right? Back to their hometown or home state at least. And I was like, maybe that was Thanksgiving. Like maybe they were going home for Thanksgiving, but I don't think it was actually Thanksgiving. It was Christmas break. Again, a solid setup for movies. Just a break from school and then two people having to ride there together.
Yeah. Damn. I was looking at this Ed Burns stuff. He has his first movie ever was The Brothers McMullen, which was in 95. He kind of spearheaded this whole independent movement, and that was his kind of didn't have money and used leftover film, that kind of thing. Well, he made a sequel to it. Just came out last month, The Family McMullen. And I guess it's the sequel to The Brothers McMullen. And it just came out last month, so I'm going to find that and check it out and report back here to whatever this is called. What do you guys think about that? Everybody listening, what do you guys think about that?
One thing I also think about from pop culture with Thanksgiving, and I don't know if it was specifically, I think it was specifically on Thanksgiving episode, if you call it that, but Mr. Bean with the big turkey on his head running around.
Every time I see, I was not a big. Now this kind of can get misconstrued. I wasn't a big fan of Mr. Bean. I liked it. I just didn't watch a lot of it. I was more of a Blackadder fan of his than Mr. Bean. Have you ever seen Blackadder?
I have seen, yep, some Blackadder.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was much more of a bigger fan of Blackadder. And they would have a Christmas episode, I think. But I don't know if they ever had a Thanksgiving one. I don't know. So, yeah, I never. What was the Bean one?
I think he was just cooking, Thanksgiving meal, and there's the giant. He's got this big ass turkey, and he's like stuffed it, and somehow it gets stuck on his head, and he's running around with this giant turkey on his head. Mr. Bean was another one of those things that I was flipping around cable, and it's one thing kids miss out on nowadays. I guess YouTube is kind of the same, but flipping around cable, and there was Mr. Bean, and for like a whole weekend, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen." And I just would look up on, wait for the thing to scroll through to that channel again, and be like, "When's Mr. Bean on again? When's Mr. Bean on again?" But yeah, I remember him with a giant turkey on his head.
Huh, Mr. Bean.
What? So shows nowadays, I mean, you get things. And I say nowadays, like when I say nowadays, I think Modern Family, and that's been off the air for 10 years now.
10 years, yeah.
I mean that's what I think of when I think of shows nowadays, because there's not really anything memorable that gets put out there that's not streaming and like a drama type show.
Yeah, well, the sitcom, yeah, that's an interesting concept of what happened to that, because I think maybe we were talking about it on here, or maybe it was on my other podcast, but there was. Allison Janney was on a sitcom, and I saw something for it, and I was like, "Oh, she's coming to TV, sweet." And then I looked up what that TV show was, and it had been off the air for like 10 years or 15 years, and it was 6 seasons of it, and I was like, never even heard of this. It was something about like, it was her and she had a daughter or something, and they were living together, and I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, there's no memorable sitcoms anymore. There's nothing that is like, because when we were kids, we used to schedule our nights or at least I did, was like, oh, okay, so it's Thursday, so Cheers. I'm gonna watch Cheers and Family Ties and whatever the must-see TV was on Thursday nights. But yeah, there's nothing really that kind of. Like, I need to sit down and watch it. I really kind of lost interest in sitcoms in the late 90s. I think that was the last time I used to watch them regularly.
I think that's something we have to do.
How about you?
We have to do as a draft at some point, is just TV shows that were on Thursday nights at some point.
Yeah.
And just go through it, just look up TV shows that were on, because if you weren't on Thursday nights, it's like you weren't on.
Yeah, it was something with Thursday nights, because we used to when I moved out, the first time I moved out, like Thursday nights were the beginning of the weekend. So you get off work at like 5, or I'd get off at work at 5, and then like start partying. Like Thursday night markets used to be in Santa Rosa. Instead of Wednesday night, it was Thursday night markets, and it would just start there. And then you had those jobs that you can call in sick, and on Wednesday because you were hungover, and then you'd go out Friday and Saturday, and then when you're young, jeez. When we were young.
Yeah, I think they thought that starting Friday, nobody's watching TV, right? They're out and about and doing stuff. And so Thursday night was the last night to catch them before that. And they might be willing to stay up a little later, like you said, to watch something on TV, because the next day it's just Friday. They could call out if they needed to, or they could phone it in and just barely work that day if they're trudging along.
Yeah. Well, there's the infamous Dana Carvey comedy half hour that came out on Thursdays for however long it was stayed on. I think it was only like 6 weeks or something, or 4 episodes. And so they came on Thursday nights on ABC. But I think the powerhouse was NBC with must-see TV. It had Family Ties. It had Cheers. It had Caroline in the City. It just had all these. Mm-hmm. It was such a Friends. It was such a powerful night that they would sometimes a movie star would come and do a sitcom, and they would put it on Thursdays, like Caroline in the City, which was Leah Thompson, and that lasted, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. But yeah, Thursday night was always just the place to put the stuff that you needed to succeed, because it had a better chance.
People would be excited about movies releasing on Fridays. So they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, Friday,
Right.
Saturday, Sunday are movie days. And then you'd pick
Yeah.
back up on Sunday night TV and you'd get some shows or some movie specials on there.
Yeah, the ABC, NBC, CBS Sunday night movie. And dude, I was just humming the CBS one. It was dun, 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 dun. Tonight on the CBS Sunday night movie. I missed those what do you call them? The bumpers at the beginning. Dun, 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 dun. Just
I think you've got this week's short, Steve. You just got to throw the logo right over it. If the globe turning or with CBS floating in, whatever it was.
Yeah. And then they'd always had the CBS one had the movie camera, and it would go boom, and it would turn, and then it would go into the thing. And dude, I'll put in an example of what I'm talking about when I edit this, so people can feel the power and the. It was just it was majestic. That's what I would say. Because Sunday nights, you're getting ready for the week. You did all the stuff you did and on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday it's like just gonna stay in and watch TV. And they would have Indiana Jones or Superman or some big movie on Sunday nights, or Disney would have their Disney shows at night. So you remember those, right? Though you remember?
Oh yeah,
they still have those around. Okay.
Yep, and I remember Muppets was Sunday night. The Muppet Show.
The Muppet Show.
And from what I remembered, maybe it was probably reruns, but Incredible Hulk was on Sunday. I remember seeing reruns of that.
Yes. Getting the thumb out. Yeah. The man.
I was thinking
what a show.
Comic book guy going, you couldn't turn into Bill Bixby.
And the opening is like, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Man, that show actually started it was like in 78 and then went to like 81 or something. So I would just barely remember the last seasons of that. And that was at a time, I think, when I was young, where I didn't understand how TV or shows worked. And so it was always like when it stopped, it'd be like, they don't play this show anymore. And then it would show up and my parents would be like, oh, here's that show you liked. Oh, I thought it was like a. I think back then I thought TV people would just be like, let's just put this on. Let's just put this on. There was no schedule to anything because I just never. And this is, 5, 6 years old. So
I have a Lou Ferrigno story. Same time I got that poster back there. My Lou Ferrigno sign poster. He was at Spooky World in Massachusetts, and they would have a barn with a bunch of celebrities, and so he was there signing. And at the same time I got my poster, my friend Colin got I think he got the same poster as me. And they said, oh, what's your name? He said, Colin. And so he signs it, he hands it to him and gets it back, and it says, to Corey, Lou Ferrigno.
He's deaf.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, to Corey. And my friend liked it even more that it was, it wasn't Colin, it was Corey.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? The Arnold Schwarzenegger countdown that we were gonna do, and we'll do maybe next week or something. But Pump and Iron, he was in that, and Arnold just antagonized him. I'll save it for the episode, but man, he was in that. Lou Ferrigno was in that, and he made a comeback in the '90s in the Mr. Olympia muscle building contests, and dude was huge when he made his comeback. Still didn't win anything, and shows you how politicized that became. But when he got into the masters with the older bodybuilders, he started winning stuff then. But man, he was huge. I'm not surprised they picked him to be the Hulk.
Yeah, he looked like the Hulk compared to everybody else. He was the Hulk.
Yeah.
So I think musically, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Hulk. What were you gonna say?
Oh no! I was just gonna say, I think at that time too, nobody was nobody was looking like that because now movie stars have to look like that to be action and whatever. But back then, it was like Kirk Douglas was or those kind of things. And so I think when Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger came on the scene, they're like, oh yeah, they could be Conan, they could do this. It's because nobody ever. Now it's just an everyday thing, but no one really kind of did that in mainstream. So that's all I gotta say about that.
You can hire a personal trainer for someone like Kumail Nanjiani
Yeah.
to get ripped for 4 or 5 months before a shoot, and you can get anybody out there with muscles and triceps and lats and all other things that have muscles that I don't know about. You could get all those things just 4 months before a shoot.
Yeah. That's so crazy. I think a lot of that too is what they don't say is HGH they have, but because I think the guy that did Jack Reacher, the TV show, he was on a talk show. I think it was Rich Eisen talk show. And, the dude's stacked. He's got muscles on muscles, and he's tall too. He's like 6'6" or something. So he's tall and big. And I think Rich Eisen asked him, man, how'd you get in? Oh, I did all this. I got in shape, lifted. I'm just really good at keeping in shape, and I like lifting. And a little HGH doesn't help either, or doesn't hurt either. And so it's like, oh, okay. Well, at least he admits it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so one last aspect of pop culture for Thanksgiving is music. We talk movies, we talk TV, we talk music. Not a whole lot of Thanksgiving music out there. You've got Jingle Bells, which was originally meant for Thanksgiving. It's about Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
The Christmas Carol, Jingle Bells. It's about Thanksgiving. It's about going to Thanksgiving dinner. But it's been adopted by Christmas, so you could sing it on Thanksgiving if you want, but people are going to call you out.
I'll get you Christmas.
Yeah. But the other thing is Adam Sandler's Thanksgiving song, and that was what made the Thanksgiving song. So
the Hanukkah song, is that what it is?
No, he had a Thanksgiving song too.
That's right.
I think Thanksgiving was before. It might have been the same year that he did both of them, because it might have been Thanksgiving took off and he's like, all right, let me do a Hanukkah song. But he do love to eat turkey. Gobble, gobble, goo, and gobble, gobble, gickle. I wish turkey only cost a nickel.
I don't remember that, but I can see him singing that song. I never really got the Adam Sandler thing. But.
Yeah, it's a lot of baby talk. The chorus was Thanksgiving is a special night. Jimmy Walker used to say dynamite. That's right. Yeah, the Adam Sandler era of SNL comedy. But you got the Thanksgiving song. That's what we've got for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, do you have the best of? Because I remember we were buying those at one point. Yeah, that's the one I don't have. I don't have the best of Adam.
They'll put, I'll find the most random clips. You can go to Reddit and post something and be like, hey, I remember this skit. This was the host. This is what happened. Is it a fever dream? Do I remember this or what? And people are like, oh yeah, here it is. And they'll find it and post it. So one the other day I saw was one of, it was when Dane Cook hosted. And it was Dane Cook and Will Forte, and they were Poland Springs water bottle delivery guys. The big giant jugs of water that you put in a cooler. And they were in their apartment just chugging the water. And then someone knocks at the door, and I think it's like their boss, and they're like, we have to hide all these containers. And they've just been hoarding and stealing they have all these empty giant Poland Springs water bottles, and they're trying to put them in cabinets and in drawers and just run. It's very slapsticky. But someone was like, "Hey,
who was in
Dane
it?"
Cook, and Will Forte. Cook. Yeah.
Well,
and so there's ones.
There's one from the first time that Alec Baldwin hosted Saturday Night Live, and as the years go on, skits get released and stuff, but. There's one called the Environmental Conscious One, which is it was his take on the Wild One, which was a Marlon Brando, like a motorcycle gang movie back in the 50s or late 50s, and so he was doing his Brando impression, and it was all in black and white, and but he was in love with this girl, and the girl's dad was this big giant polluter company. And I could never find that anywhere. I can't find that skit anywhere. So I'll go to Reddit today after we're done here, and I'll see if people can find that.
Yeah.
because I can't find it anywhere.
They're hawks on there. And sometimes it's an old like video service like Vimeo or something, some random place, and it's very pixelated. One of those was when Conan O'Brien hosted SNL, which I'm amazed that he's only hosted once. I feel like Conan should be on there. He should be in the 5-time club easily.
Yeah.
But he had the Molecular Man, and he was a superhero, and it was a Superman type. And he was like,
I remember this one,
like a Clark Kent type thing. And so he was there in the newspaper, agency, and they're talking about Moleculo, and he keeps going. Whenever they say Moleculo, he goes, "The Molecular Man," and they just look at him weird. And it's every single time he just has to say the Molecular Man, and then they go, "You're Moleculo, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah." Like he burst through the wall to say it one time. He's like, "I have to go now. You figured out who I am." And then it shows him in a small, like, Mexican village. His editor is speaking Spanish, is like, in Spanish, it's a great job, with your article on Moleculo. And he comes off his guns and goes, "El hombre de los moleculos." It was Horatio Sanz. He goes, "Tú eres Moleculo." Sí, caramba. And it's one that I found just on like one of those random ones. We're like, "Do you remember this?" And it's a little like Vimeo clip.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many skits that I want to find from my childhood that sometimes you just can't find it.
They used to do those specials too for SNL. Like it'd be like the Christmas special, and it'd be all the Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Christmas time is here. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Horatio Sanz, Jimmy Fallon. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and there's been SNL Thanksgiving skits. They've had them, but I don't think that they ever did like a Thanksgiving special of them, because they're not as amazing as the Christmas stuff.
So the Thanksgiving music, is there any more songs that you know of? Because I really can't come up with any.
No. So there was the only thing that I got from like ChatGPT was Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant Massacre. It's supposed to be 18 minutes long, mostly about littering, and somehow it's a Thanksgiving tradition. I guess people listen to it. Mary Chapin Carpenter has Thanksgiving song, but I've never heard it. And then Vince Guaraldi Trio has Thanksgiving theme, which is from the Peanuts special, which just gets outshined by the Christmas theme.
Well, supposedly Carrie Underwood sings a song called Stretchy Pants, and you can kind of infer what the song is about with that. Yeah, family tradition, Hank Williams Jr., We Are Family by Sister Sledge. I mean, I think people are just kind of...
They're stretching there.
Yeah, they're reaching for...
They're stretching like Carrie Underwood's pants.
Homeward Bound by Simon and Garfunkel. Who Says You Can't Go Home by Bon Jovi. Who knows?
The one Thanksgiving movie aspect that we didn't touch on, there was an aspect of it in Adam's Family Values where they did like a Thanksgiving pageant, which is a classic scene. But I don't think that was around Thanksgiving, because it wouldn't make sense that they were at camp during Thanksgiving. So I don't know why. I don't remember what brought them to doing like a Thanksgiving pageant at summer camp. I don't remember. I don't care enough to go watch the segment or look it up. So why don't you all do that for us? Why don't you let us know?
Yes.
Let us know.
Yes, please.
Do you know what the plot was for Adam's Family Values? Not, the whole Fester, and he's got the new Joan Cusack bride and stuff like that. We're talking about the summer camp. Why did they do a Thanksgiving pageant? Why does TV episodes skip Thanksgiving a lot? And the ones that do it, who did it right? Do you like Friends? That's fine. You can like Friends. I'm not a big fan, but hey, you do you. Not everything has to be for me. I'm a 46-year-old white dude. I get plenty of stuff. You enjoy what your stuff is, right? Like, I'm cool with that. Let us know in the comments. What do you enjoy Thanksgiving? Do you think that there should be more TV shows? Should there be more music? Write us a Thanksgiving song in the comments there, and we'll sing it next time. Just let us know. Reach out. We love you. Don't leave us. Don't Don't leave us out here
Best
hanging,
song
baby.
gets this.
You leave your song quotes for Thanksgiving song, and Steve, then you can pay Steve to not send you an Amazon Echo. So yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll catch up with you in the comments with another episode of whatever this is called. We're not mad, we're just disappointed. We'll see you next time.